Hello, my name is Mark Frangillo, your Westlaw Academic Account Manager. Thank you for taking the time to join me as we discuss the Thomson Reuters Law School portal. This is a portal designed specifically for law students, and it really is what you should be bookmarking and using anytime you need to get to Westlaw and associated products. The URL is at the very top, lawschool.thomsonreuters.com or lawschool.tr.com. When you come here for the first time, at the very top, you'll see a drop-down listing all the products that your school subscribes to. There are other Thomson Reuters products that you will have access to. Every school in the bare minimum has access to Westlaw Edge, TWEN, and Practical Law. Many schools often subscribe to additional products, which you will learn about throughout your law school career. On this page, anytime you need to get in touch with me or your student reps, you can click the Contact Us link. By doing so, you'll have my phone number and email address. And if you keep scrolling, you'll have contact information for student representatives at your school. One other point I wanted to make is that you do have 24-hour-a-day assistance with the reference attorneys. These are actual attorneys, and one of their jobs is to help you with your legal research. It is a free call. It's free in any firm that subscribes to Westlaw. This is a resource you're going to be using not only throughout your law school tenure, but also during your legal careers. Back to the portal, a couple of other links that I think are important for you to be aware of at this point. The Law School Survival Guide. Don't have a lot of time to go into it, but it contains some really pertinent, relevant information on basically surviving law school. You know, how to study, how to build outlines, how to network, how to interview. We also have some really cool content in here that we get from Quimby. And Quimby is an academic success platform, and they provide access to outlines and case briefs. We have a lot of free information in here ourselves, so you probably want to take a few minutes to peruse through the survival guide at some point. Okay, back at the portal. This is the first of 3 takeaways I want you to have in this session. Knowledge Center. The Knowledge Center is where we house all of our e-lessons. And I do want to say that at some point during your 1L year, you will receive mandatory Westlaw training, whether it's through me, a librarian, or an LR&W professor. The problem with those trainings, as good as they may be, you're going to be hit with a lot of information, and it's going to be hard for you to retain things a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months down the road. That's where the Knowledge Center comes in. It really sort of fills in those gaps in learning and lets you refresh your memory, if you will. Now, the first time you come here, if you scroll through, you'll see that we actually have 6 different certifications in the Knowledge Center. And you will certainly want to get certified on Westlaw. In fact, if you click the certifications drop-down, you could measure your progress with any of the 6 certifications. Once completed, you could add your certifications to LinkedIn, but I wanted to focus on the overview. The overview is where you will see all the 60 different lessons grouped by the certifications themselves. And again, at some point during your first year, you're going to probably want to take the first 2 here, Foundations of Legal Research and Essential Legal Research. But the point I want to make right now is that at some point, you're probably going to get assigned an open memo project that requires you to research statutes. You may need a refresher on statutory research. You could come here, click Research Using Statutes, and the beauty of the Knowledge Center is you can pick and choose which lessons you want to watch. We've made them in bite-sized modules so that none of them are going to be longer than 6 or 8 minutes. You'll see that for statutes, for example, Anatomy of a statute is 6 minutes. Getting started with statutory research is 2 minutes. And there's a description of what each lesson contains. So this is something you're really going to want to add to your legal research tool belt, if you will, the Knowledge Center. Okay, that's the first of 3 takeaways in this session. The second takeaway is coming up in a minute, but before I get there, the other thing I wanted to point out that you'll see on the portal is an events and webinars link. This is where you'll see all current sessions that we are hosting. So feel free to sign up for additional sessions. And back up to the top, Black's Law Dictionary. You have free access to Black's Law Dictionary. It is a product that my company has been publishing for years. My advice, don't spend money on the print product or the app. You have free access to it, use it here. So if, for example, you're reading your property casebook and you're coming across a term you don't know the definition for, fiaffment, for example, I can just type it here, click search, and Westlaw will actually run a search and give you all of the entries that satisfied that particular term. Here's the definition of fiaffment right here. I can just simply click and there we go. All right, that's your second takeaway from this particular session. By the way, if you were searching a phrase, deed of fiaffment, for example, or mens rea, or forum non conveniens, make sure you place a phrase in quotes. When you place a phrase in quotes, it's going to search for that exact phrase. If, for example, I simply typed deed of fiaffment without quotes, it's going to search and return every definition containing either deed or fiaffment. All right, since I'm on Westlaw at this point, let me click the home page. To the upper left, I can click Westlaw Edge to get back to the home page. And we're going to go into more detail on the content you have access to. You actually have access to over 33,000 databases on Westlaw, but at this point, what I wanted to show you was how to find documents by citation and how to find cases by name. Now, anytime you need to find a document by citation, the beauty of Westlaw is that we don't care how you type that citation in. For example, you'll see 4 citations here. The only one where I've actually typed it in proper format is the Supreme Court case, volume 438, space, capital U period, capital S period, space, 265 is the page. The others I've actually not capitalized or spaced, and I didn't put periods in, and I've just sort of jammed everything together. Point here, doesn't matter how you type it. As long as you type a proper citation, Westlaw will find that document for you. The other shortcut is that rather than finding documents individually, you can actually find up to 99 documents by citation as long as you separate them with a semicolon. So at this point, if I wanted to find those 4 cases, I could find all 4. They pull it up as a list here. And if I wanted to get a hard copy, I could select all 4 documents, go to my browse bar, where you'll see that we have the ability to email, print, download, send to a Dropbox, or Kindle. The other thing that you will be using at some point is the foldering capabilities on Westlaw. You have the ability to folder documents on Westlaw. So anytime I begin a new project, I'm going to probably want to create a new folder, or if I want to folder these 4 cases to an existing folder, I can do so quite easily. Now, the final thing I wanted to cover today is how to find a case by name. More often than not, you're going to remember the name of a case rather than the citation. Take, for example, Tarasoff v. Regents. That's a case you will read in torts. It deals with a physician, therapist's duty to warn a third party of imminent danger. Start typing the name of the case, and if you have proper spelling, Westlaw is going to use the type ahead feature to suggest cases that match. If you see multiple iterations of a case, that just is telling you that this is a case that has gone through the appellate process. You could look at any of the varying versions of the case. I'm going to take the Supreme Court California version of that case. And how did I know it was the Supreme Court case? Based on the citation. And this is going to be something that will become second nature to you later in the year. But right now, the last takeaway I want to leave you with is a secret that every attorney knows, and a feature that every attorney uses when reading cases, either in print, we could pull this up in PDF, or on Westlaw. And that secret is, or secrets are, the synopsis and headnotes which accompany every single case on Westlaw. This case, by the way, is about 37 pages long. First thing you will always do when reading a case is go to the synopsis. It is a summary of the facts, the issue, and the holding, the black letter law in the decision itself. Why do you do this? Well, if I were researching a landlord-tenant issue and I read this synopsis, this is a case, as I said earlier, dealing with duty to warn. You know, if it's landlord-tenant I'm researching, I'm not wasting time on this. If it's duty to warn, this looks like a promising case. My next step would always be to take a look at the headnotes. Now, before I go any further into what headnotes are, you will most likely see this outline here. I'm going to compress that outline for now because we're going to talk about it in a later session. But headnotes, quite simply, are a summary of each and every issue in your case. They are written by expert attorney editors who read every case and give us a Cliff Notes version. They paraphrase and give us a Cliff Notes version of each and every issue. Why is that important? Well, for a number of reasons. Number one, I could quickly come to this case, scan the headnotes, and gain an understanding about what each issue was. Number two, it allows me to hone in on the parts of the case that are most relevant for what I've been assigned to research. For example, this case has 35 headnotes, 35 different issues. The first issue deals with the topic health, subtopic duty to warn. Here's a summary of that particular issue. Second issue also is a health-related topic, but the subtopic is released or non-committed patients. Third issue deals with pleadings. The fourth issue deals with torts. Issues 5 and 6 deal with negligence. There's a wrongful death issue in here, an education issue, a public employment issue. I don't really care about this case for anything but the duty to warn issues. So the headnotes allow me to target the parts of this opinion that are going to be most beneficial for me when writing a memo on duty to warn. And by the way, headnotes are a shortcut for you if you're reading a case in a case book and it doesn't really make sense. Pull up the case on Westlaw, scan the headnotes, and you're going to gain that insight that you need to discuss this case in class. So they're going to be something that, as attorneys, we use these every single time we read cases. They are a tremendous time saver. They clarify issues for us. They make me feel confident that I know what the case is about. One drawback to the headnotes, I can't simply copy and use this language in a memo or brief. It's an editorial enhancement. Much like Cliff Notes, you can't really copy and use Cliff Notes in an article or a paper you're writing. You want to go to the source itself. Well, we make it easy to do that. If I want to see where the judge or the court discusses issue number 1, I click on the number 1, and it takes me into the opinion where the judge was discussing this issue. Now I can click and drag, highlight this passage, add a note, copy with reference would copy this in Blue Book format, and let me paste it into a word processing document. Okay, hope this was helpful. That is all I have for today. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.